Welcome to this episode of the Metaphysical Manor podcast, courtesy of Violet Spring, author, holistic life coach, intuitive energy healer, Reiki master, numerologist, and tarot practitioner.
All right, let's dive in today. We're going to be looking at a chapter from Abundance, The Whole Truth by Violet Spring.
Okay.
She's a holistic life coach, and this chapter really digs into how our thoughts and beliefs shape what we experience out in the world, especially when we're talking about attracting abundance.
Yeah, I find really interesting is how Spring connects these two big concepts, the law of correspondence and the law of perpetual transmutation of energy.
All right, I'm listening. Break it down for me.
Okay, so think of it like this. Your inner world, your thoughts, your beliefs, it's like a blueprint. And then your outer world is like the building that comes from it. That's the law of correspondence in a nutshell. As within, so without.
So she's saying that, if my mind is a total mess, my life is going to be a mess too?
Yeah, pretty much. And then there's the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. It's like this. Energy is always flowing and changing, right? And that constant movement is what builds that outer world from your inner blueprint.
I'm trying to picture this. So it's like a construction site. And energy is all those little trucks running around building my life based on some mental blueprint I've got going on in my head. Am I getting close?
You got it. Spring gives this example of someone who's feeling all this pressure to conform.
Yeah.
Trying to fit into a mold that just doesn't feel right. And all that inner struggle, that lack of authenticity can drain their energy and really block them from the abundance they're looking for.
Okay, so instead of trying to force ourselves into a box that doesn't fit, we should be embracing who we really are and letting that authenticity shine through.
That's it. When we're being genuine, Spring says our energy just vibrates at a higher frequency. And that's what draws good things into our lives. It's like setting out this beacon saying, hey, abundance over here, this is where the party's at.
I love that. But what about those times when we feel stuck? Like we're trying so hard to manifest abundance, but it's just not happening.
Well, that's where forgiveness comes in. Spring believes that holding on to resentment towards ourselves or towards others blocks the flow of abundance.
So if I'm still holding on to anger about, say, a money mistake I made in the past, it's like I'm putting up this wall that abundance can't get through.
Exactly. She talks about this belief a lot of people have that money is hard to make. It sounds harmless enough, right?
Right.
But it can really shape your whole experience.
Yeah.
People end up working themselves to the bone and feeling like they never have enough, even if they're making good money on paper.
That's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about how much our thoughts actually matter.
For sure. And that leads us right into the difference between a scarcity mindset and an abundance mindset. That whole money is hard to make belief. That's classic scarcity. You're always focused on what you don't have, never enough.
An abundance mindset, on the other hand, is about focusing on what you do have and trusting that there's plenty to go around.
Yeah. It's like switching from a lens of fear to a lens of possibility.
Okay, I'm with you.
Spring points out that expecting different results with the same mindset,
Yeah.
that's the definition of insanity.
Okay, I definitely don't want to be insane. But how do we actually make that shift? How do we reprogram ourselves for abundance?
Well, Spring talks about tapping into the power of imagination, but not like daydreaming. It's deeper than that. She calls it the superconscious.
Superconscious. Okay, I'm intrigued. But could you explain that a bit more? It sounds a little, mystical.
Okay, think about it this way. We've got our everyday thoughts, the conscious mind, right? Spring calls that heads. But then there's this deeper part of us, the subconscious, the tails. It's all those memories, emotions, and sometimes those pesky limiting beliefs we were talking about.
So that tails part of us, that's where those money is hard to make, gremlins are hanging out.
Right. And then the superconscious is like tapping into something even beyond heads and tails. It's that gut feeling, that inner voice that just knows what's truly right for you, even if it doesn't make sense logically.
So if I'm trying to manifest abundance, I need to tap into that superconscious, my intuition, and just believe that it's possible.
Yes. Spring really emphasizes that true belief. That's what unlocks the law of attraction.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting for me. Can you say more about that?
Sure. She uses this metaphor of pretending versus being. Like, think of an actor on a stage. They're pretending to be someone else and it takes a lot of effort. But when you truly are something, it just flows naturally.
So if I'm trying to manifest abundance, but deep down I don't believe I deserve it, it's like I'm putting on this performance that even I don't believe.
Exactly. Spring says when you believe in your own worthiness and you're aligned with your true self, abundance stops being something you chase after. It just becomes a natural part of who you are.
I like that. A real shift in perspective.
Yeah.
So it sounds like this chapter is all about aligning our inner world with what we want to see in our outer world.
Yeah.
But how do we actually put this into practice? How do we make that happen?
That is a great question. One thing that really struck me as we're digging into Spring's work is how much she emphasizes this idea that we live in a world that's constantly changing.
Yeah, you mean how, like, society is evolving all the time and we're expected to just adapt on the fly?
Exactly. And she uses this word obsolete to describe what happens when we don't keep up. It's like we don't die. We just become outdated.
Yeah.
In our careers, our health, even our relationships. It's not meant to be scary, but just to wake us up to this reality.
It's like when that new iPhone comes out and suddenly yours feels like a dinosaur.
Exactly. And she makes the point that all this change can make us question everything about ourselves. Like our thoughts, beliefs, values, how we even express ourselves to the world.
It's like trying to squeeze into those jeans you wore in high school. Not a good look.
And that's where embracing our authentic selves comes in. When we try to be someone we're not, it's exhausting. We're wasting energy on pretending instead of focusing on what really matters.
So instead of trying to fit some outdated mold, we should be celebrating what makes us unique.
Absolutely. Spring says that authenticity actually increases our energetic frequencies and vibrations, which attracts the abundance we want. But when we pretend, we just deplete our energy and stay stuck.
She uses this analogy of stuckness. It's like being trapped in quicksand.
Yeah, and a lot of times that stuckness comes from those conditioned or limiting beliefs that we've picked up along the way. They act like these invisible walls, preventing us from adapting and going with the flow.
It reminds me of that example she gives about the person who was told as a kid, money is hard to make.
Right.
That belief gets lodged in their subconscious and they end up living a life of struggle even if they become financially successful.
It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. They work hard, but because they believe money is scarce, they never feel like it's enough. It really shows how much our thoughts shape our reality.
Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Exactly. But Spring emphasizes that we can change those limiting beliefs. And it starts with forgiveness. Forgiving those who instilled those beliefs in us and forgiving ourselves for holding on to them for so long.
Forgiving ourselves and others is tough, but I can see how it's crucial for letting go of that negative energy that's keeping us stuck.
It's not about saying it was okay. It's about releasing the resentment and anger, making space for positive energy to come in.
Okay, so once we start to let go of those negative beliefs, how do we actually build an abundance mindset? Is it just about focusing on the positive?
It's more than that. It's about shifting our focus from what we lack to what we have. From I can't afford that to how can I create the abundance to experience that.
So it's about changing our self-talk and looking for opportunities instead of focusing on limitations.
Exactly. And Spring reminds us that we can't expect different results with the same mindset. If we want abundance, we have to change our thinking.
She talks about the power of imagination in this whole process, but she's not just talking about daydreaming, right?
No, it's much deeper than that. It's about using our imagination with intention and belief. Our brains are powerful. They don't always know the difference between what's real and what we imagine, especially when we really believe in it.
So if I can really picture myself living abundantly, my brain starts to accept that as a possibility, even if my current situation is totally different.
That's the idea. And this is where the concept of the superconscious comes in. That intuition that guides us towards our true desires.
It's like that coin analogy she uses. Remember, heads is our conscious analytical mind, and tails is our subconscious with all its memories and emotions.
And it's often that tail side where those limiting beliefs and negative patterns take root.
So it's about finding the balance between the two, not letting one dominate the other.
Exactly. Spring suggests that when we tap into our superconscious and really imagine ourselves being, doing, and having all that we desire, we start to attract those experiences into our reality.
It's like she says it's about embodying the feeling of abundance, not just wishing for it.
Right. She makes a distinction between pretending and being. Pretending takes effort, but being flows naturally. When we believe we're worthy and we align with our true selves, abundance becomes an expression of who we are.
That's powerful. And it ties back to the law of attraction, like attracts like.
Right. When we vibrate at a frequency of abundance, we naturally attract more of it into our lives.
This chapter is really making me think about my own beliefs and how they might be holding me back. How about you? What's resonating with you the most?
I'm really drawn to how much she emphasizes balance. It's not about ignoring our logical mind. It's about finding that harmony between our conscious and subconscious, our analytical and intuitive selves.
It's a good point. It's about embracing all parts of ourselves, letting go of those limiting beliefs that keep us from reaching our full potential.
And it's a reminder that abundance is a journey. It's not a destination. It's something we cultivate through self-awareness, forgiveness, and a willingness to be our true selves.
Absolutely. It's about consistently aligning our thoughts, beliefs, and actions with the abundance we desire and trusting that the universe will support us.
In trusting that when we let go of those limiting beliefs and open ourselves to the flow of abundance, amazing things will happen.
Before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, I want to emphasize one of Spring's core messages. If we want to truly attract and manifest our desires in the physical world, lasting change has to come from within.
She's right. Our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, values, opinions, and actions all influence the abundance we attract and manifest. To truly attract what we want, we have to let go of our scarcity mindset and limiting beliefs and allow new, empowering thoughts and beliefs to take root.
It's about forgiving ourselves and others, envisioning our ideal lives, owning our authentic selves, sharing that authenticity with the world, and believing without a shadow of a doubt that we are enough. We are worthy and deserving of all that we dream of being, having, and doing.
What a powerful message. We've been talking about the power of imagination and belief, but it's important to remember that it's not just about visualizing our dream life.
Yeah, for sure. Spring is really clear about this. Action is key. We can't just sit around and wait for abundance to show up. We have to meet the universe halfway. So it's not enough to just picture myself living in that beachfront mansion. I actually have to do something to make it happen.
Exactly. It's about aligning our actions with our intentions. So let's say you're trying to attract financial abundance. Okay, visualizing is a good start, but you also need to take some practical steps. Maybe that's creating a budget, exploring investment options, or learning some new skills to boost your earning potential.
So it's about figuring out what actions will actually support our vision and then going after them with everything we've got.
Yeah. Spring talks about looking at these actions as opportunities instead of chores.
Okay, I like that. But what about when we hit those inevitable roadblocks? Those times when things get tough and that dream life feels impossible.
Well, Spring reminds us that the path to abundance isn't always smooth sailing. There are going to be detours, challenges, wrong turns. The key is not to let those things throw us off course.
So resilience is key. It's about looking at those challenges as opportunities to learn and grow.
Right. Every successful person has faced setbacks. It's how we respond to them that matters. And we don't have to do it alone. Spring talks a lot about having a strong support system.
It's so much easier to stay motivated and overcome those challenges when you've got people in your corner reminding you what you're capable of, whether it's mentors, coaches, friends, family. Surrounding ourselves with that positive energy makes a world of difference.
Absolutely. And Spring also talks about celebrating our wins along the way, no matter how small those wins are.
Yeah, it's like giving ourselves a little pat on the back for every step we take.
Exactly. And amidst all this action and striving, it's important to remember that abundance isn't only about material things. It's about living a fulfilling life that's true to our passions and values.
It's about that feeling of purpose and being grateful for all the good things in our lives, big and small.
Right. And remember, abundance shows up in all areas of our lives. Relationships, health, creativity, spirituality. It's about experiencing that richness and fullness in everything we do.
This deep dive has been amazing. It's given me a whole new perspective on how I can create more abundance in my life, and I'm feeling really hopeful. How about you?
Yes, Spring's insights have been a great reminder that we have more power than we think. And I'm definitely feeling inspired to take action and be more intentional about my own abundance journey.
This chapter has been such a good reminder that we are in charge of creating our own abundance. It starts with believing in ourselves, embracing who we are, and taking action towards what we want.
It's a journey of growth and self-discovery. And as we learn and evolve, we open ourselves to even more abundance and fulfillment.
As we wrap up our deep dive today, we encourage you to really think about the insights we've talked about. What limiting beliefs are you holding on to that you're ready to let go of? What action can you take right now to step into your authenticity and welcome the abundance you deserve?
And remember, true abundance isn't just about what we have. It's about who we are. When we embrace our true selves and live from a place of love, gratitude, and possibility, abundance flows into our lives naturally and joyfully.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into abundance and authenticity. We hope you found it helpful and inspiring. And until next time, keep diving deep and keep living abundantly.
Being a soul star is easy. Just like and subscribe to join the journey. Thanks for watching.